The stars looked different from the observation deck of the Horizon's Promise. Captain Day One stood with his hands behind his back, watching the massive structure grow larger on the view screen. The Galactic Council chamber was unlike anything humanity had ever built. It floated in space like a crystal flower, each petal a different color, spinning slowly around a core of pure light. This was it, first contact, the moment humanity had dreamed about for centuries. Ambassador Jiwoo adjusted her formal suit and checked her notes one more time. She had practiced her speech 100 times. She knew every word, every pause, every gesture. Beside her, Taemin reviewed tactical data on his tablet. He was supposed to be a military advisor, but right now he looked more nervous than she felt. The docking sequence completed with a soft thump. The airlock hissed open. Jiwoo took a deep breath and stepped forward. Daewon and Taemin followed close behind. The chamber inside was enormous. Hundreds of beings filled the curved rows of seating that spiraled up toward a domed ceiling. Some had fur, some had scales, some were just clouds of gas held together by force fields. Some floated. Some had too many legs, some had no legs at all. The variety was overwhelming. At the center of the chamber, a being made of swirling purple mist spoke without a mouth. Its voice came from everywhere at once. "The humans have arrived," it announced. Laughter rippled through the chamber. Not polite laughter. Mean laughter. Jiwoo felt her stomach tighten but kept her face calm. She walked to the speaking platform in the center and bowed slightly. "Honored members of the Galactic Assembly," she began. "We come in peace from the planet Earth. We seek friendship and cooperation with all civilized species." More laughter. Louder this time. A creature that looked like a giant slug with too many eyes slithered forward. "Earth," it said, its voice wet and bubbling. "We have reviewed your planet's data. You come from a Class 12 death world." The word death world echoed through the chamber. Whispers started. Jiwoo glanced at Taemin, who shrugged slightly. They had never heard that term before. The purple mist being spoke again. "A death world is a planet so dangerous that intelligent life should not exist there. Your gravity is extreme. Your weather is violent. Your oceans are poison to most species. Your sun burns with radiation that would kill us. And yet you not only survive, you thrive." Another alien stepped forward. This one was tall and thin, with skin like blue glass. "Your bone density is 3 times the galactic average. Your muscle structure is designed for a world with crushing gravity. You have redundant organs, multiple systems to keep you alive even when damaged. This is not normal." Taemin leaned close to Jiwoo and whispered, "I think they're scared of us." The purple mist being heard him somehow. "Scared? No, human. We are concerned. You are primitives who survived conditions that would destroy proper civilizations. You are anomalies, mistakes of evolution." Jiwoo felt anger rise in her chest but pushed it down. "We may be different, but we are here to learn from you, to share what we know, to be part of this community." The slug creature made a sound like wet laughter. "Part of this community? You barely have faster-than-light travel. Your technology is crude. Your ships are held together with what we would call scrap metal. You have nothing to offer us." "Except entertainment," the blue glass alien added. The chamber filled with laughter again. Jiwoo's hands formed fists at her sides. Daewon stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "We may be new to the stars, but we are not primitive. We have overcome challenges you cannot imagine. We have built a civilization through determination and cooperation." The purple mist being floated closer. It studied Daewon with something that might have been curiosity. "Your species survives by being tough and stubborn. This is not intelligence. This is not civilization. This is just endurance." "We have a proposal," the blue glass alien said. "We will grant Earth protected status. You will be under our guidance. We will teach you proper ways. In time, perhaps in a few thousand years, you may become civilized enough to join us as equals." Taemin's jaw tightened. "Protected status? What does that mean exactly?" The slug creature answered. "It means you will do as we say. We will control your expansion into space. We will monitor your development. We will make sure you do not become a danger to yourselves or others." Jiwoo shook her head. "That is not acceptable. We seek equal status. We are a sovereign species." The chamber erupted in laughter. Some aliens were actually rolling in their seats. Others were making sounds that their translators couldn't interpret but were clearly mocking. The purple mist being's voice cut through the noise. "Equal status? You want to sit in this chamber as equals? You who still fight wars on your own planet? You who barely understand quantum mechanics? You who think fusion power is an achievement? We will not accept protected status, Jiwoo said firmly. If that is your only offer, then we decline. The laughter stopped. Silence fell over the chamber. The purple mist being seemed to grow larger, darker. You decline? It said slowly. Then you choose isolation. No other species will trade with you. No one will share technology. No one will help you. You will be alone in a galaxy that has no use for primitive Deathworlders. Jiwoo looked at Daewon. He nodded once. She looked at Taemin. He stood straighter. She turned back to the council. Then we will be alone, she said. But we will be free. The purple mist being made a sound like wind through caves. Very well. You have 30 days to leave assembly space. After that, any human ship will be turned away from all civilized worlds. This audience is over. The three humans walked back to their ship in silence. The airlock sealed behind them. Only when they were safely inside did Jiwoo let out the breath she had been holding. That went well, Taemin said sarcastically. Daewon moved to the captain's chair and started the departure sequence. Get me a channel to Earth Command. Commander Hyunwoo needs to know what just happened. As the Horizon's Promise pulled away from the crystal structure, Jiwoo looked back at it one more time. The aliens thought humans were primitive. They thought Earth was a death world that produced tough but stupid creatures. Maybe they were right. Maybe humans were different, but different didn't mean lesser. Captain, she said quietly, set course for home. The ship turned and accelerated, leaving the Galactic Council behind. The stars didn't look different anymore. They looked cold and unwelcoming, but they were still there, still waiting. And humanity had never been good at accepting rejection. 3 months had passed since the disaster at the Galactic Council. Earth had gone quiet, turning inward, focusing on its own development. Commander Hyunwoo stood in the operations center beneath Seoul, watching data streams from deep space monitoring stations. Something was happening out there in the galaxy that had rejected them. The first reports came from automated probes. Colony signals going dark, then distress calls, then nothing but silence. Dr. Bora burst into the operations center, her tablet clutched in both hands. Commander, you need to see this. We intercepted transmissions from the Epsilon sector. Hyunwoo pulled up the data on the main screen. What he saw made his blood run cold. Ships torn apart, stations in ruins, and something else. Something moving through the wreckage like sharks through water. What are those, he asked. Bora zoomed in on one of the shapes. It was roughly humanoid but wrong. Too many joints. Metal fused with flesh. Eyes that glowed red. The galactic transmissions call them Ravagers. They appeared 2 weeks ago at the outer rim and have been moving inward ever since. How many colonies lost? 17 confirmed. Maybe more. The aliens stopped broadcasting publicly. They're trying to keep it quiet. Engineer Kijun joined them, wiping grease from his hands. He'd been working in the prototype lab for 48 hours straight. I've been analyzing the attack patterns from what footage we could grab. These Ravagers are efficient. They don't waste movement. They don't hesitate. And they're fast. Hyunwoo pulled up more data. What do we know about their tactics? Kijun brought up a 3-dimensional battle map. They hit hard and fast. Overwhelming force. They board ships within minutes, and the crews are dead within minutes after that. The galactic forces can't hold against them. Why not? Hyunwoo asked. The Assembly has millions of ships. Bora answered this time. Because the Assembly species evolved on easy worlds. Low gravity. Stable climates. No major predators. They're smart, but they're not fighters. Not really. They build good technology, but they've never faced something like this. On the screen, a new transmission arrived. It was marked with the Assembly's official seal. Hyunwoo opened it. The purple mist being appeared. The same one that had mocked them months ago. But it looked different now, smaller, flickering. To all member species and protected worlds, it said. Its voice lacked the arrogance from before. The Assembly faces an existential threat. The Ravagers have destroyed the Epsilon sector fleet. We request immediate military support from all capable species. The transmission ended. Hyunwoo stared at the screen in silence. They're asking for help, Kijun said. After everything they said to us. They're desperate, Bora added. The Ravagers must be worse than we thought. Another transmission came in. This one was from the front lines. Someone had leaked combat footage. Hyunwoo played it. The scene showed a massive space station under attack. Galactic soldiers in light armor tried to defend a corridor. They lasted seconds. The Ravagers tore through them like paper. Bora watched closely. Look at how they move. They're adapted for low-gravity environments. Their strikes are quick but not sustained. They rely on their prey being weak. Their prey, Hyunwoo repeated. That's what the galactic species are to them, prey. Ki-jun pulled up biological data. Most assembly species can fight for maybe 2 hours before exhaustion. They need rest. They need breaks. The Ravagers just keep coming. At the Earth Defense Academy outside Seoul, Lieutenant Hanul was running her team through combat drills. Her Special Forces unit was the best humanity had. They trained in variable gravity, extreme temperatures, and hostile environments. They were preparing for a war everyone said wouldn't come. Again, she shouted. Her team had been running the obstacle course for 3 hours. They were tired but not finished. Young-ho, you're too slow with that cannon. Mi-sun, watch your left flank. Dong-hyun, faster on those charges. Chunji, I need better intel faster. Private Young-ho grunted as he hauled the heavy weapon through the course. Corporal Mi-sun dove and rolled, coming up with her rifle ready. Sergeant Dong-hyun planted fake explosives with smooth precision. Specialist Yoon-ji hacked through security protocols while running. They were human. They were strong. And they didn't quit. Hanul's communicator buzzed. It was Commander Hyunwoo. Lieutenant, report to operations immediately. Bring your team. 20 minutes later, they stood in the operations center, still in their training gear, watching the footage of the Ravager attacks. This is what we're facing? Young-ho asked, his voice steady. This is what the galaxy is facing, Hyunwoo corrected. The question is whether we help them. They rejected us, Dong-hyun pointed out. Called us primitives. They did, Hyunwoo agreed. But if the Ravagers win out there, they'll eventually come here. Dr. Bo-ra brought up a star map. The Ravagers are moving in a pattern. They're heading toward the core worlds, toward the places with the most resources and population. If they're not stopped, millions will die. Maybe billions. And Earth? Mi-sun asked. Earth is off their current path, Bo-ra said. But eventually they'll find us. Lieutenant Hanul studied the footage again. She watched how the Ravagers moved, how they fought, how they killed. Then she watched how the galactic soldiers defended. Or tried to. They fight like they've never faced a real threat, she said quietly. Like war is a theory they studied but never experienced. Exactly, Ki-jun said. Their weapons are advanced, but their tactics are weak. They retreat when they should hold. They panic when they should focus. Yoon-ji looked up from her tablet. Commander, I've been analyzing the Ravager biology from what we can see. They're cybernetic, but there's organic material. They need to breathe. They need energy. They're not invincible. Nothing is, Hanul said. Hyunwoo looked at each of them. The assembly sent a request for help. They're calling it a galaxy-wide crisis. President Sang-hee is meeting with the Unified Defense Council now to decide Earth's response. What do you think we should do, Commander? Young-ho asked. Hyunwoo was quiet for a moment. I think we should remember that we're human. We don't abandon people to monsters, even if those people were cruel to us. But more than that, I think we should show them what Deathworlders can really do. A new transmission came in. It was marked urgent. The battle at Kappa Station had begun. The Ravagers had found one of the Assembly's major defensive positions. If it fell, the route to the core worlds would be open. The footage showed chaos, explosions, ships burning, soldiers dying, and through it all the Ravagers kept advancing. Hanul watched with cold eyes. She saw the patterns. She saw the weaknesses. She saw how to fight them. Commander, she said, request permission to take my team to Kappa Station. Hyunwoo looked at her. That's deep in assembly space. If you go there and Earth hasn't officially committed to help, you'll be on your own. I know. You could start a war. Or end one. Hyunwoo smiled slightly. I'll talk to the president. Get your team ready. If we do this, we do it right. As the team left to prepare, Bora and Ki-jun stayed behind with Hyunwoo. They watched the footage of Kappa Station. The situation was getting worse by the minute. Can they really make a difference? Bora asked. It's just 5 people. Ki-jun smiled. 5 humans. From Earth, I almost feel sorry for the Ravagers. Almost? Hyunwoo asked. They mocked us. They called us primitives. They rejected us. Ki-jun's smile grew wider. Let them meet real Deathworlders. President Sang-hee stood before the Unified Defense Council in the command center, deep beneath Geneva. The room was filled with Earth's top military leaders, scientists, and politicians. On the screens behind her, the battle at Kappa Station played in real time. It was not going well for the assembly. They rejected us, said General Martinez from North America. They called us primitives. They wanted to control us. Why should we risk our people for them? Because it's the right thing to do, Sang-hee replied calmly. And because if the Ravagers win, they will eventually find Earth. Admiral Chen from the Pacific Fleet shook her head. We barely have a space military. 5 ships that can fight. Maybe 1,000 trained soldiers ready for space combat. The Assembly has millions of ships and billions of soldiers. If they can't stop the Ravagers, what can we do? Commander Hyunwoo stepped forward. With respect, Admiral, the Assembly has numbers but not strength. They evolved on easy worlds. They've never faced real danger. We have something they don't. And what's that? Martinez asked. We're from Earth, Hyunwoo said simply. A Class 12 death world. We evolved to survive impossible conditions. We are built for this. Dr. Bora activated a hologram showing human physiology next to average assembly species. The differences were shocking. Human bone density is 3 times galactic standard. Our muscle fiber is designed for high gravity. We have redundant organ systems. Our pain tolerance is 10 times higher. Our endurance is off their charts. Engineer Ki-jun added more data. The footage shows Ravagers fighting in low gravity with quick burst tactics. They overwhelm weak opponents fast. But what happens when they face opponents who don't break? Who don't tire? Who keep fighting no matter what? President Sang-hee looked around the room. Commander Hyunwoo has proposed a stealth mission. Send a small team to Kappa Station. Observe the Ravagers. Learn their tactics. See if humans can make a difference. You mean see if we can survive? Martinez said. Yes, Sang-hee admitted. That too. And if they fail? Chen asked. If the Ravagers kill our people, then Earth looks weak. We'll have shown our hand and lost. If they succeed, Hyunwoo countered, we'll have saved thousands of lives and proven that humans are not primitives. We'll have earned respect instead of begging for it. The council voted. It was close, but the decision came through. Earth would send 1 ship, 1 team, not an official military action but a humanitarian mission to rescue stranded civilians. If the team happened to engage Ravagers in self-defense, that was just unfortunate circumstance. Captain Daewon received his orders on the bridge of the Indomitable. The ship was a retrofitted military cruiser, built with human standards. Heavy armor, powerful engines, weapons that could turn asteroids to dust. By assembly standards, it was primitive. By human standards, it was perfect. Plot a course to Kappa Station fast as possible, he ordered. And get me Lieutenant Hanul. Hanul appeared on the screen moments later. Her team stood behind her, already suited up in their powered armor. The armor looked brutal by galactic standards. Thick plates, heavy weapons, built to take punishment and keep moving. Lieutenant, are your people ready? Daewon asked. Yes, sir. We've reviewed all available footage. We know their tactics. We know their weak points. And if it goes wrong, Hanul smiled coldly, then we'll improvise. We're good at that. The Indomitable jumped to faster than light speed. The journey would take 18 hours. During that time, the team prepared. Young-ho checked his heavy cannon, a weapon that would require a loading rig for most aliens. He carried it like it weighed nothing. Mi-sun organized her medical supplies, including trauma equipment that most species would never need. Dong-hyun prepared his explosives with careful hands. Junji hacked into assembly military channels, gathering every scrap of intel she could find. Lieutenant Hanul watched her team work and felt pride. These were the best, humanity's best, and they were about to walk into hell. Lieutenant, Junji called out. I've got updated footage from Kappa. It's bad. The screen showed corridors filled with bodies, not just soldiers but civilians. The Ravagers had broken through the 3rd defensive line. The assembly forces were in full retreat. They had maybe 6 hours before the station fell completely. How many defenders left? Hanul asked. Maybe 5,000 soldiers. 20,000 civilians trapped in the core sections. Young-ho loaded his cannon. So we get there. Save the civilians, kill some Ravagers, get out. Simple. Nothing's ever simple, Dong-hyun muttered, but he was smiling. The Indomitable dropped out of FTL space at the edge of the Kappa station system. The scene before them was chaos. Ships burning, debris everywhere, and in the middle of it all, the station itself. A massive ring structure 3 kilometers across. Reading multiple Ravager vessels attached to the station, reported the sensor officer. And they're inside. Lots of them. Day 1 opened a channel to the station. Kappa Station Command, this is Earthship Indomitable. We're here to assist with civilian evacuation. Static. Then a weak voice. Earthship? The humans? You actually came? We did. Prepare your civilians for evacuation. And hold your position. Help is coming. Help? You're one ship. We have nothing left to— Just hold. Day 1 cut him off. We're deploying ground forces now. Hanul's team loaded into the drop pod. It was a small craft designed to punch through defenses and deliver soldiers directly into combat zones. Most species considered it insane. Humans considered it efficient. Remember, Hanul said as they strapped in, the Ravagers expect weak opponents. They expect fear. They expect retreat. We give them none of that. We give them Earth. Earth, the team repeated. The pod launched. It screamed through space, dodged debris, and slammed into the station's hull with a force that would have killed fragile species. The team barely felt it through their armor. Cutting charges blew a hole. They dropped into a corridor filled with smoke and emergency lighting. And waiting for them were the Ravagers. The Ravagers looked even worse in person. Half machine, half organic, red eyes, claws that could tear through steel. They saw the humans and charged, expecting quick victory like always. Young-Ho opened fire. His cannon roared, and the sound alone was shocking in the confined space. Ravagers flew backward, their bodies torn apart by rounds designed to stop charging bears on Earth. The ones that survived the first burst ran into the second. And the third? Misan moved forward with her rifle firing controlled bursts. A Ravager slashed at her. Its claws hit her armor and scraped off. She shot it in the face at point-blank range. Donghyun tossed a grenade. The explosion was larger than it needed to be, but it cleared the corridor effectively. Hyunji monitored the station systems, finding routes and identifying threats. Left corridor, 20 more coming. Let them come, Hanul said. The battle lasted minutes. When it was over, 30 Ravagers lay dead. The humans had not taken a single casualty. They barely looked winded. An assembly soldier stumbled out of a side passage. It was a 4-armed species with blue fur, carrying a weapon that looked like it might tickle the enemy. It stared at the carnage, then at the humans, then back at the carnage. You killed them all, it whispered. We killed these, Hanul corrected. How many more on the station? Hundreds, maybe thousands. They're everywhere. We can't stop them. We've been fighting for 3 days and we're almost done. Hanul looked at her team. They looked back. Young-Ho shrugged. Misun checked her ammunition. Donghyun grinned. Unji was already mapping the next objective. 3 days? Hanul said. That's cute. Show us where the civilians are. We'll handle the Ravagers. The assembly soldier's translator made a sound like confused static. Handle them? There's 5 of you and hundreds of them. Young-Ho patted his cannon. Then it's a fair fight. They moved deeper into the station. Word spread fast. Humans were here. Real Deathworlders. And they were fighting back. The word spread through assembly channels faster than light communication. Humans at Kappa Station, 5 of them, fighting hundreds of Ravagers, and winning. The footage started as leaked clips from security cameras. Then soldiers started recording on personal devices. Within hours, every species in the assembly had seen it. Lieutenant Hanul's team had been fighting for 18 hours straight without rest. The aliens watched in disbelief. A corridor on Kappa Station. Young-Ho stood alone, his heavy cannon mounted on his shoulder. 60 Ravagers charged him. He held the position for 40 minutes. When his ammunition ran out, he used the cannon as a club. When the cannon broke, he used his armored fists. By the time Misun reached him with reinforcements, he was surrounded by bodies and still standing. You good? She had asked. Tired, he admitted. Give me 5 minutes and I'll be ready to go again. 5 minutes. Most species needed 5 hours to recover from 5 minutes of combat. Humans rested for 5 minutes after 40 minutes of constant fighting. Another clip showed Misun dragging 3 wounded assembly soldiers out of a collapsed section, while Ravagers shot at her from behind. Her armor took 17 direct hits. 17 hits that would vaporize most species. The armor held. She held. She got the soldiers to safety, then turned around and went back for more. Dong-hyun appeared in another video, moving through zero-gravity sections planting explosives with casual precision. He was humming. The translator picked it up. He was humming Earth music while working in an environment that terrified other species. Kyunji hacked Ravager communication systems and fed them false data, sending groups into ambushes or away from civilian areas. She did this while running, shooting, and coordinating with the team. Her multitasking capabilities seemed impossible to the aliens watching, and Hanul, she led from the front. She fought harder than anyone. She took hits that should have killed her and kept moving. She showed no fear, no hesitation, no doubt. She was what humans called a leader. The aliens had no word for it in quite the same way. On the third day of fighting at Kappa Station, something changed. The assembly defenders stopped retreating. They watched the humans and learned. If these small, primitive Deathworlders could fight this hard, maybe they could too. The line held. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The purple mist being that had mocked humanity months ago now watched the footage in silence. The slug creature that had called humans anomalies had no jokes now. The blue glass alien that had offered protection looked at the data and said nothing. Ambassador Jiwoo stood before the council once again. This time she was not alone. Captain Daewon stood beside her in his formal uniform. Taemin had tactical displays ready on a dozen screens. Behind them, broadcast from Earth, were Commander Hyun-woo, Dr. Bora, and Engineer Ki-jun. "You summoned us," Jiwoo said simply. The purple mist being spoke, and its voice had lost all arrogance. "Your people at Kappa Station have performed exceptionally, against odds that should have been impossible. We wish to understand how." Dr. Bora stepped forward on the broadcast. "It's simple biology. Humans evolved on a high-gravity death world. Everything about us is built to survive extreme conditions. What you see as exceptional is normal for us." "Normal," the slug creature repeated. The word seemed to disturb it. Engineer Ki-jun brought up comparative data. "Your species evolved on worlds with 0.3 to 0.6 Earth gravity. You have delicate bone structures optimized for efficiency. Humans evolved at 1 full gravity, sometimes fighting, sometimes climbing, always moving. Our bones are 3 times denser. Our muscles are built for power and endurance. We are literally built different." "Your soldiers rest every 2 hours," Taemin added, showing tactical analysis. "They need regular breaks for food, water, and sleep. Human soldiers can fight for 18 hours, rest for 6, and fight for 18 more. Our pain tolerance is 10 times higher. Our injury recovery is 6 times faster." The blue glass alien spoke quietly. "You are biological weapons." "No," Jiwoo corrected firmly. "We are humans. We are what evolution creates when a planet tries to kill you for millions of years and fails." Commander Hyun-woo brought up footage of human training. "This is our basic military training. What you're seeing would be considered advanced special forces training for most of your species. For us, it's week 1. The council watched humans running obstacle courses that would break alien bones, lifting weights that would crush alien bodies, fighting in conditions that would kill alien soldiers, and they did it with ease, often while joking and laughing. "You asked to understand," Jiwoo said. "Now you understand. Humans are Deathworlders. We are strong because we had to be. We are tough because Earth demanded it. We are persistent because giving up meant extinction." The purple mist being was quiet for a long time. Then it spoke. "We were wrong about you." Those words hung in the chamber. Wrong about humans, wrong about Earth, wrong about Deathworlders. "We need your help," the being continued. "The Ravagers are pushing toward the core worlds. Our losses are severe. Our tactics are failing. We need soldiers who can fight like your people fight." "You rejected us," Taemin pointed out. "You called us primitives. You offered us protection like we were children who needed watching." "We did," the being admitted, "and we were fools." Jiwoo looked at Daewon. He nodded slightly. She looked at the screen showing Earth Command. Hyun-woo gave a tiny smile. She turned back to the council. "Earth will help," she said, "but not under your terms. Not as protected species, not as subordinates. As equals. You want equal status?" the slug creature asked. "Full voting rights? Full membership?" "Yes," Jiwoo said simply. The blue glass alien made a sound like crystals breaking. "This is unprecedented. You've been in space for less than 50 years. No species has achieved full status that quickly." No species has saved your core worlds from extinction either, Commander Hyunwoo said from Earth. Let's not pretend this is about tradition. This is about survival. The council members spoke among themselves in a dozen languages. Finally, the purple mist being addressed the humans again. We need time to discuss this. The protocols, the laws, While you discuss protocols, people are dying, Captain Daewon interrupted. At Kappa Station, my team saved 20,000 civilians and 3,000 soldiers. How many more will die while you debate? Dr. Bora brought up projections. At current Ravager advancement rates, they'll reach the first core world in 36 days. After that, you'll lose billions. Unless, Engineer Kijun added, you let humans develop a comprehensive battle strategy. We've been analyzing Ravager tactics. We know their weaknesses. We know how to fight them. But we need authority to implement our plans. Ambassador Jiwoo spoke with absolute conviction. Give us equal status now. Let us fight this war our way, and we will save your civilization. Or refuse and watch everything burn while you follow proper protocols. The silence in the council chamber was complete. Every species present knew the truth. They had mocked humans. They had rejected humanity's friendship. And now those same humans were offering to die protecting them. The purple mist being finally spoke. The council will vote. Immediate vote, emergency protocols. All in favor of granting Earth full member status with complete military authority. The votes came in. Not unanimous, but overwhelming. 247 in favor. 18 against. 12 abstentions. It is done, the being said. Earth is now a full member of the Galactic Assembly. Captain Daewon, you are hereby granted the rank of Fleet Commander with authority to coordinate all military operations against the Ravagers. Daewon bowed slightly. I accept. Commander Hyunwoo will serve as Strategic Director. Engineer Ki-jun will handle technology integration. Dr. Bora will coordinate biological analysis. Ambassador Jiwoo will maintain political oversight. And your soldiers at Kappa Station? The slug creature asked. Lieutenant Hanul and her team will return to Earth to train more units. We'll need thousands of soldiers, hundreds of ships, and all of your cooperation. The blue glass alien asked the question everyone was thinking. Can you really stop the Ravagers? Daewon smiled. It was not a kind smile. We're humans. We stopped mammoths with pointed sticks. We climbed the highest mountains because they were there. We split the atom and reached the stars. Stopping the Ravagers? He paused. That's just another challenge. And humans are very good at overcoming challenges. Fleet Commander Daewon stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching the fleet assemble around him. 50 ships from a dozen different species, all waiting for orders from a human. 6 weeks ago, that would have been unthinkable. Today, it was survival. All ships report ready, Commander, his communications officer reported. Daewon activated the fleet-wide channel. This is Fleet Commander Daewon. Today we launch Operation Earthfall. The Ravagers have been pushing us back for months. Today we push back. We take the fight to them. We show them what happens when you threaten the galaxy. He paused. We show them what Deathworlders can do. All ships jump on my mark. The fleet jumped to faster than light speed. Their target was a Ravager-controlled system that had fallen 3 weeks earlier. Intelligence showed heavy Ravager presence but no civilian population remaining. It was perfect for what Daewon had planned. On Earth, thousands of soldiers trained under conditions that shocked alien observers. Lieutenant Hanul had returned with her team and established training protocols based on their Kappa Station experience. The aliens who came to observe went back changed. One alien commander, a species called the Trill with feathers and sharp eyes, watched human soldiers train for 6 hours straight in high-gravity simulation. How long can they continue? It asked Hanul. Another 6 hours easy, she replied. Then we'll break for food and rest. And then? Then we do it again. The alien made a sound of disbelief. Your people don't tire? We tire. We just don't quit. Young-ho demonstrated the heavy cannon techniques to alien soldiers trying to understand human weapons. Most couldn't even lift the weapon. Those that couldn't fire it without the recoil breaking their bones. Is not weapon for us, one alien soldier said sadly. That's okay, Young-ho replied. You have your strengths. We have ours. Work together and we're all stronger. Mi-sun ran medical training, teaching alien medics how to treat human injuries. The aliens were disturbed by how much damage a human could survive. This soldier has 3 broken ribs, internal bleeding, and a fractured arm. One alien medic reported. Shouldn't he be dead? The human soldier in question shrugged. Hurts like hell, but I've had worse. Donghyun taught demolition techniques. His alien students were careful and methodical. Good qualities. But they lacked the intuition that came from growing up on a planet where nature could kill you in 1,000 ways. You think too much, he told them. Sometimes you need to trust your instincts. Feel the situation. Our instincts say run away, one alien admitted. Donghyun grinned. Human instincts say fight back. That's the difference. Yoonji worked with alien intelligence officers, sharing techniques for information gathering and analysis. The aliens were impressed by human pattern recognition. Yoonji explained it simply. On Earth, missing a pattern meant death. Predators, weather, disease. We learned to see connections fast. That skill translates well to intelligence work. The fleet dropped out of FTL at the target system. Ravager ships immediately swarmed toward them. This was expected. The Ravagers always attacked aggressively. What they didn't expect was human tactics. All ships execute pattern Delta, Daewon ordered. The fleet scattered in what looked like chaos. The Ravagers pursued, dividing their forces. Exactly as planned. No, Daewon said quietly. The scattered ships suddenly turned and attacked. Not retreating, not defending, attacking. The Ravagers found themselves in kill zones, caught between human-designed crossfire patterns. Ships that had been running now showed teeth. Aboard the Indomitable, the boarding alarm sounded. Ravagers had managed to attach and breach the hull. Security teams rushed to defensive positions. Then Hanul's voice came over the intercom. Stand down. My team will handle this. She led Young-ho, Mi-sun, Dong-hyun, and Yoon-ji toward the breach point. They could hear the Ravagers cutting through. The sound of claws on metal. The hiss of their communication systems. The breach opened. Ravagers poured through. And they met Earth. Young-ho fired his cannon in the narrow corridor. The first 3 Ravagers simply ceased to exist. The next wave tried to dodge, but there was nowhere to go. Mi-sun worked her way forward, rifle barking steadily. Each shot precise, each shot deadly. Dong-hyun waited until a cluster formed at the breach point. He threw a grenade. The explosion sealed the breach with Ravager parts. Yoonji monitored their boarding craft, hacking its systems and turning off life support. The Ravagers trying to send reinforcements suddenly found themselves dying in vacuum. The entire fight lasted 8 minutes. 37 Ravagers dead, 0 human casualties. A young ensign from the bridge came down to check the aftermath. He stared at the carnage, then at the humans. They were already cleaning their weapons and checking their armor. How? He asked. How do you do this? Hanel looked at him. We're from Earth, this is what we do. The battle in space continued for hours. The Ravagers fought hard, but human tactics wore them down. Sustained pressure. Constant attacks. No rest, no mercy. The kind of warfare that came naturally to persistence hunters from a death world. Daewon watched the tactical display. Enemy ships were breaking formation, starting to retreat. He had never seen Ravagers retreat before. All ships pursuit, he ordered. Don't let them regroup. Keep the pressure on. The fleet chased the Ravagers across the system. Every time they tried to make a stand, human tactics broke them. Every time they tried to retreat, human endurance ran them down. On the 3rd day of fighting, the last Ravager ship jumped to FTL and fled. The system was retaken. Daewon broadcast to the fleet. Excellent work, everyone. We've proven that the Ravagers can be beaten. They're not unstoppable. They're not invincible. They're just another enemy, and we will defeat them. Cheers echoed through the fleet. Species that had been losing for months had finally won, and they had done it following human leadership. News of the victory spread across the assembly. The fleet that had been mocked as primitive now led the galaxy's defense. The soldiers who were called anomalies were now training elite forces. The species from a death world was saving civilization. On the Galactic Council, the purple mist being watched the battle reports. They don't fight like us, it said to the blue glass alien. No, the alien agreed. They fight like predators, like something that evolved to win or die trying. And they're on our side now, the slug creature added. Because we finally stopped being fools, the purple mist being said quietly. We thought strength meant technology, but they showed us strength means never giving up. Strength means fighting even when you're injured. Strength means protecting others even when it costs you. The blue glass alien pulled up footage of Mi-sun dragging wounded soldiers to safety while under fire. I called them biological weapons. I was wrong. They're something better. They're heroes. Back on Earth, more soldiers trained, more ships launched, more humans prepared to join the fight. They came from every nation, every culture, every corner of humanity. But they all shared one thing. They were from Earth. And Earth didn't raise quitters. Lieutenant Han Newell gave a speech to a new batch of trainees. The aliens thought we were weak, primitive, not worth their time. But we're here now, fighting their war, saving their people. Not because they deserve it, but because it's right. That's what makes us human. We don't fight for glory. We don't fight for conquest. We fight because someone has to. And we're strong enough to carry that burden. The trainees stood straighter. They understood. They were humans. From a Class 12 death world. And they were going to war. Sergeant Dong Hyun found Young Ho sitting alone, cleaning his cannon for the 5th time that day. "You good?" Dong Hyun asked. "Just thinking," Young Ho replied. "The aliens used to laugh at us. Now they follow us into battle. They trust us with their lives. That bother you?" "No, it's just weird. We went from being jokes to being heroes in a few weeks." Dong Hyun sat beside him. "We didn't change, they did. They finally saw us for what we really are." "And what's that? Survivors, fighters, humans?" Dong Hyun smiled. "Deathworlders." Specialist Yoonji had been working for 3 weeks straight, barely sleeping, analyzing every piece of data about the Ravagers. On her screen now was something nobody else had found. A pattern in their retreat vectors, a common destination. She burst into Commander Hyun-woo's office on Earth. "I found it. They're home." Hyun-woo looked up from battle reports. "You're sure?" 97% confidence. "It's a moon orbiting a red dwarf star in the outer reach sector. Low gravity, 0.2 Earth standard. Stable temperature. No major threats. Perfect for developing a species that relies on quick attacks and overwhelming force. And if we're wrong, then we waste time and resources. But if I'm right, we can end this war." Within hours, the data reached Fleet Commander Daewon. He studied the analysis with Taemin and Captain Daewon from the Indomitable. The moon matched everything they knew about Ravager physiology and tactics. "An invasion of their homeworld," Taemin said slowly. "The Galactic Council will say it's too risky." "Then we don't ask permission," Daewon replied. "We ask for forgiveness after we win." The Council predictably refused the operation when they heard about it. "Too dangerous," the purple mist being said. "You'll be deep in Ravager territory. No support, no rescue. If the fleet is destroyed, we lose our best commanders and soldiers." Ambassador Jiwoo stood firm. "If we don't take this chance, the war drags on for years. More deaths, more suffering. We end this now." "You don't know how strong their defenses are," the blue glass alien argued. "We know they're built for low-gravity defense against weak attackers," Engineer Kijun countered. "We're high-gravity attackers who don't break. Their defenses are designed to stop species like you, not species like us." President Sang Hee addressed the Council directly. "Earth is proceeding with this operation with or without your approval. We'd prefer to have your support, but we won't let politics stop us from ending this threat." The Council voted against it. 20 ships from other species volunteered anyway. Their commanders sent messages to Daewon. "Orders be damned. We're with you." The fleet gathered. 20 human ships and 20 allied ships. 40 vessels against whatever the Ravagers had at their homeworld. Military analysts gave them 30% chance of success. Human soldiers gave them 100% because failing wasn't an option. Lieutenant Hanul briefed her expanded team. She had 50 human soldiers now, the best Earth could provide. "This is a one-way trip until we win. No retreat, no surrender. We go in, we take out their command structure, we end the war." Questions? Private Young Ho raised his hand. "What's the gravity like?" 0.2 Earth standard. "You'll feel light as air." Young Ho grinned. "So I can carry twice as much ammunition." "Good." Corporal Mi-sun checked her medical supplies. "Casualty estimates?" "High," Hanul admitted. "But we're humans. We survive what kills others." Sergeant Dong Hyun was already calculating explosive placements. "Their buildings will be weaker, built for low gravity. High charges will be more effective." Yoonji had been studying Ravager communication networks. "I can disrupt their coordination, make them fight blind and confused." The fleet jumped to FTL. 3 days of travel. On the 3rd day they dropped into the Ravager home system and found it heavily defended, reading 200 Ravager warships, the sensor officer reported. Multiple defense platforms, thousands of smaller craft. Day-Wan looked at the tactical display. He had 40 ships against 200. Bad odds for most species. For humans, it was just another day. All ships attack formation Delta 9. Use the moon's gravity well to our advantage. Make them come to us. The Ravagers did exactly that. They attacked aggressively, trying to overwhelm the invaders quickly. They were used to enemies that panicked, that broke formation, that ran. The human fleet didn't run. They held formation and fired with precision. When Ravager ships closed for boarding actions, they found human Marines waiting. The battles were short and brutal. Young-Ho stood in a corridor with 5 other humans, facing 30 Ravagers trying to board. His cannon roared. The Ravagers died. Simple math. Is this supposed to be difficult? He asked over the comm. Stay focused, Hanul replied. She was on a different ship, holding a different corridor with similar results. Misun moved through the battlefield treating wounded, human and alien alike. A Ravager slashed at her. She dodged, shot it twice, and went back to bandaging a wounded soldier. The space battle raged for hours. Ships burned on both sides. But the human fleet kept pushing forward, kept maintaining pressure. The Ravagers started taking losses they couldn't replace. Reading retreat signals from Ravager Command, Yunji reported. They're pulling back to defend the moon itself. Perfect, Day-Wan said. All ships, planetary assault. Get our soldiers to the surface. Drop pods launched by the hundreds. They fell through the thin atmosphere of the moon, carrying human soldiers and their alien allies. The pods hit the surface hard, and troops poured out into a low-gravity environment. For the aliens, it was disorienting. For the humans, it was easy. Lieutenant Hanul's boots hit the ground and she immediately started running. In 0.2 gravity, she could jump 3 times higher and run twice as fast. She felt like she could fly. This is amazing, Young-Ho said, carrying his cannon like it weighed nothing. Because in this gravity, it almost didn't. The Ravager ground forces tried to defend. They had fortifications. They had numbers. They had home advantage. But they didn't have experience fighting humans in low gravity. Donghyun moved between buildings like a ghost, placing explosives with impossible speed. Jump, plant, detonate. Entire structures collapsed in sequence. Misun ran faster than vehicles, reaching wounded soldiers before enemy fire could finish them. She treated injuries while moving, her hands steady despite the chaos. Yunji infiltrated Ravager communication nodes, feeding false information. Enemy reinforcements went to empty sectors. Defensive positions opened at exactly the wrong times. The human soldiers fought with a ferocity that terrified the Ravagers. These were supposed to be heavy, slow creatures from a high-gravity world. In low gravity, they should be clumsy and awkward. Instead, they moved like dancers of death. Hanul reached the command nexus, a massive structure at the center of the main city. Ravager commanders inside watched their forces crumble. They had never lost before. Winning was all they knew. Until Earth arrived. Donghyun, how much explosive do you have left? Hanul asked overcom. Enough to level this whole building. Why? Because we're leveling this whole building. The assault team fought their way inside. Room by room, level by level. The Ravagers defended desperately. Hanul's team took casualties. 3 soldiers down. Then 5, then 8. But they kept pushing forward. Young-Ho held a choke point while the team advanced. His cannon clicked empty. He dropped it and drew his sidearm. Then his knife. Then his fists. He held for 10 minutes using only his armored hands. When Misun reached him, he was sitting on a pile of dead Ravagers, breathing hard but alive. Status? She asked. Tired, give me 2 minutes. 2 minutes later, he picked up a Ravager weapon and followed the team. They reached the central command chamber. Inside, a dozen Ravager leaders stood around holographic displays showing their losing battle. They turned to face the humans. You cannot win, one said through a translator. We are many. You are few. Hanul removed her helmet. You attacked the galaxy. You killed billions. You thought you were unstoppable. She smiled coldly. You are wrong. Donghyun placed the final charges. Buildings wired. We have 5 minutes to evacuate. Tell your forces to surrender, Hanul said to the Ravager leaders, or we destroy this building with all of you inside. We do not surrender, the leader said. Your choice, and the team withdrew. The Ravagers tried to follow, tried to stop them, but humans in low gravity were too fast, too strong, too determined. The building exploded. The blast was visible from orbit. The Ravager command network collapsed instantly. Without central coordination, their forces stopped fighting. Some surrendered, some fled, some just stopped moving, confused and leaderless. Ambassador Jiwoo broadcast from the fleet. Ravagers of this world, your leaders are dead. Your military is broken. You have one choice. Peace or extinction. Choose now. The response came minutes later. We surrender. We ask for terms. No killing civilians, Jiwoo said. No more attacks. Accept Galactic Assembly oversight. Rebuild under our supervision, or refuse and face elimination. We accept. The war was over. 6 months had passed since the Ravager homeworld fell. The Galactic Council chamber looked the same as always, spinning slowly in space like a crystal flower. But everything else had changed. Fleet Commander Day Wan stood before the council wearing his full military uniform, decorated with medals from a dozen different species. Behind him stood Lieutenant Hanul, Private Young-ho, Corporal Mi-sun, Sergeant Dong-hyun, and Specialist Eun-ji. They wore their armor polished and proud, the armor that had saved the galaxy. Ambassador Jiwoo presented Earth's final report on the war. Numbers filled holographic displays. Battles won. Lives saved. Enemies defeated. The statistics told a story that the Council had lived through but still struggled to believe. One species from a single planet had turned the tide of a galactic war. The Ravager threat is eliminated, Jiwoo concluded. Remaining forces have surrendered. Their homeworld is under assembly supervision. Rehabilitation programs are beginning. The war is over. The council chamber was silent. Then the purple mist being spoke. Its voice was different now. Respectful, humble. When humans first came to us, we mocked you. We called you primitives from a death world. We thought we were superior because we had older civilizations, more advanced technology, bigger fleets. It paused. We were fools, the blue glass alien continued. You taught us that civilization is not about comfort. It is about strength when challenged. It is about fighting for others even when they have wronged you. It is about never surrendering even when victory seems impossible. The slug creature added, we measured strength in weapons and ships. You showed us that true strength comes from within, from determination, from courage, from the refusal to give up. President Sang-hee appeared on a holographic display from Earth. We didn't fight for recognition. We fought because it was necessary. Because lives were at stake, because it was right. And we will never forget that, the purple mist being said. Earth's full membership in the assembly is permanent. Your voting rights are equal to any species. More than that, we propose creating a new military command structure with humans in leadership positions. Timon stepped forward. We appreciate the offer, but Earth doesn't seek to rule. We seek to cooperate. Our military will train your forces. We'll share tactics and strategies. But every species should defend themselves. Commander Hyun-woo appeared on another display. We're establishing the Galactic Defense Academy on Earth. Any species can send soldiers to train with us. We'll teach what we know, how to fight, how to endure, how to win. And in return, the blue glass alien asked, share your technology, Engineer Kijun said. Your medicine, your science, we'll share our strength. You share your knowledge. Together we're all stronger. Dr. Bora added, we've already begun joint research projects, combining human physical capabilities with advanced alien technology. The results are promising. The Council voted unanimously to approve Earth's proposals. No debate, no discussion needed. They had learned their lesson. Later, in a bar on Viridian Prime, Lieutenant Hanul and her team celebrated. The bar was crowded with soldiers from a dozen species. All of them wanted to buy the humans drinks and hear stories. An alien soldier with 4 arms and blue fur approached their table. It was one of the defenders from Kappa Station, saved by their actions months ago. I wanted to thank you again, it said, its translator making its voice sound musical. You saved my life and the lives of my squad. Young-ho raised his glass. We were just doing our job. No, the alien insisted. You were doing more than that. You were showing us what heroes look like. Mi-sun smiled. We're not heroes. We're just soldiers. You are both, another alien said, joining the conversation. You are soldiers who chose to be heroes. Dong-hyun laughed. If you want to thank us, tell us about your homeworld. We fought to save the galaxy, but we didn't get to see much of it. The rest of the evening was filled with stories. Aliens describing their beautiful worlds. humans telling tales of Earth's mountains, oceans, and forests. The conversation flowed easily. Fear and suspicion had been replaced by friendship and respect. Yunji sat quietly watching the interactions. Specialist work was usually lonely, gathering intelligence and analyzing data. But tonight, surrounded by people from across the galaxy, she felt connected, part of something larger. "You good?" Hanyul asked, sitting beside her. "Yeah, just thinking. A year ago we were alone in the universe. Now we're part of a galactic community. A community that almost rejected us, but didn't. In the end, they saw who we really are." Hanyul looked around the bar, humans and aliens together, laughing and sharing stories. What we really are is stubborn. We don't accept rejection well. Is that bad? It won Earth a place in the stars. So no, I'd say it's pretty good. Outside the bar, the Indomitable hung in orbit, visible through the observation windows. The ship had survived dozens of battles. Its hull was scarred and patched, but it still flew. Like humanity itself, battered but unbroken, Captain Daewon met with other fleet commanders in the military headquarters. They were planning the future of galactic defense. Humans offered strategies. Aliens offered technology. Together, they designed a force that could face any threat. "The Ravagers won't be the last enemy," Daewon said. "The galaxy is big and dangerous. We need to be ready." An alien commander from the Trill species agreed. "Your training methods work. My soldiers who trained with humans are twice as effective now." "They were always capable," Daewon replied. "They just needed to believe in themselves, to push harder, to not give up when things got difficult." "That is the human gift," another commander said. "You don't just share your strength. You teach others to find strength within themselves." On Earth, the first class of alien soldiers graduated from the Defense Academy. They had trained for 6 months under human instructors. They were stronger now, tougher, more confident. They wore their graduation badges with pride. Lieutenant Hanyul gave the commencement speech. "You came here from gentle worlds. You experienced Earth's gravity, Earth's weather, Earth's challenges. Many of you wanted to quit, but you didn't. You pushed through. You found strength you didn't know you had. That strength was always there. You just needed a reason to use it." The graduating soldiers stood at attention. They came from species that the Ravagers had once terrified. Now they stood ready to defend their homes, trained by Deathworlders who had shown them how. President Sang-hee addressed both Earth and the galaxy in a historic broadcast. "We stand at the beginning of a new era, an era of cooperation, of mutual respect, of shared strength. Earth is proud to be part of the Galactic Assembly. We look forward to building a peaceful future together." The broadcast was watched by trillions across the galaxy. Humans were no longer the mocked primitives. They were saviors, protectors, friends. But they were also still Deathworlders. Still strong, still tough, still unwilling to surrender no matter the odds. And now everyone knew it. In the Galactic Council, the purple mist being watched Earth's broadcast and spoke quietly to itself. "We called them primitives. We said they came from a world too harsh for civilization. We were wrong about everything." The blue glass alien joined it. "Not wrong about everything. They do come from a harsh world. But that harshness made them strong, made them special, made them exactly what the galaxy needed." "Do you think they'll ever forgive us for how we treated them?" "They already have. That's what makes them different from us. They don't hold grudges. They move forward. They build bridges instead of walls. Then we must learn from them. Yes, learn and be grateful they chose to help us despite our cruelty." On the Indomitable, Private Young-ho cleaned his cannon one more time. It had been rebuilt twice during the war, but it was still his favorite weapon. Corporal Mi-sun restocked her medical supplies. Sergeant Dong-hyun checked his explosives inventory. Specialist Yoonji updated intelligence files. They were preparing for the next mission. Because there would be a next mission. The galaxy was safer now, but not completely safe, and humans were ready to face whatever came next. Lieutenant Hanyul joined them in the common room. New orders came in. "We're escorting a diplomatic mission to a new sector. First contact with a species that hasn't met the assembly yet." "Think they'll mock us too?" Young-ho asked with a grin. "Probably. Until they see what we can do. Then we'll show them," Mi-sun said simply. Dong-hyun nodded. "Same as always. Be professional, be strong, be human." Yoonji pulled up data on the new species. "They're from a low-gravity world. 0.4 Earth standard. They might be intimidated by us. Then we'll be gentle, Anul decided. Show them that strength doesn't mean cruelty. That being tough doesn't mean being harsh. The human way, Young Ho said. The human way, they all agreed. The Indomitable prepared for departure. All across the galaxy, human ships patrolled. Human soldiers trained alien forces. Human diplomats built relationships. Human scientists collaborated with alien researchers. Earth had gone from isolated and mocked to respected and needed. The journey had been hard. Lives had been lost. Sacrifices had been made. But humanity had proven that Deathworlders weren't primitives. They were survivors, fighters, heroes, and the galaxy was better because of them. Captain Daewon sat in his command chair as the ship prepared to jump to FTL.